Hey guys, and welcome to Pirate Hunter Traffy. The latest edition of Season 3 of Demon Slayer just came out, and we are here to get you updated. So, without any delay, let's get started. As Hotaru keeps cleaning the old blade, Kozo watches Muichiro talk to Gyokko from behind some trees. Muichiro then taunts the upper rank. Angrily, Gyokko uses the blood demon art 10,000 gliding slime fish to send many hungry fish toward Muichiro. He forms 10 vases in his hands and points them at Muichiro. Mist Hashira moves away and avoids getting hit. Then he uses a tree to launch himself and uses mist-breathing 6th form lunar dispersing mist to cut all of them at once. Gyokko watches him hit and is shocked by how fast a demon slayer is. He also can't understand why his poison isn't working. Still, he knows that cutting the fish will only release small enough poison to be taken through the skin and kill him quickly. Muichiro then uses mist breathing, 3rd form scattering mist splash to move the toxic cloud away from himself. Then, all of a sudden, he lunges at Gyokko and tries to cut off his head, but the demon sheds his skin and disappears. Now that Muichiro is angry, he tells the demon to stop avoiding him and going into the trees. Gyokko laughs and says he will now show Muichiro his true form, saying he's only the 3rd person to see it. He says that once he's serious, no one will be able to stop him. This makes Muichiro act incredulous, which bothers Upper 5. Gyokko tells the Hashira that his new transparent skills are harder than diamonds, and that he has been working on the shape inside his vase. He then orders the Hashira to kneel before his new body, which looks like a humanoid sea snake. Muichiro stands there and looks bored, so the demon yells at him angrily to say something. The Hashira tells the demon that Gyokko told him to be quiet earlier. As Muichiro says that he is not the least bit surprised by his change, Gyokko attacks him and tries to punch him over and over again, forcing the Hashira to run away and jump into a tree. He then watches as the parts of his uniform that Gyokko touches turn into fish, as do the places where his fists hit him. Muichiro thinks back to the anger he felt when he watched his brother's body decay as he lay there, and vows never to forget that anger. Gyokko uses the blood demon art killer fish scales and his new body to quickly circle Muichiro in a way that the Hashira can't hit him cleanly. The demon asks him if he likes moving against nature's rules, then says he will kill him and put a new fish's head on his body. Muichiro uses mist-breathing 7th form obscuring clouds as Gyokko moves toward him. The upper rank throws a punch but is surprised when it totally misses its target. He turns around and sees Muichiro behind him. He strikes, but again misses. Now that he's in front of him, he throws another punch, but it goes right through him again. Gyokko looks around him, trying to figure out what's going on, but he can only see brief flashes of the Hashira as if he were in a thick cloud of mist. He sees Muichiro's head and tries to attack, but once again, he doesn't hit anything. Inside the cloud, Muichiro asks a shocked Gyokko if he thought he was the only one who wasn't serious. He then walks up to Upper 5, points his blade at his neck, and slashes upwards, cutting off the demon's head. Gyokko's head falls to the ground as he realizes that everything seems to be backward, and he can't feel anything. When he finally sees Muichiro out in the open, he knows he has to kill him and tell Muzan about it, but he falls to the ground. As Muichiro walks toward him, Gyokko finally realizes that his head has been cut off and is shocked that he has lost. The demon yells about his fate and how he can't believe it happened, while Mist Hashira says goodbye and tells him not to come back. Gyokko is angry that he lost to a human and tries to grow his body back while insulting Muichiro and bragging about how much better he is. The Hashira is so fed up with the demon's ranting that he cuts off the demon's head, killing Gyokko for good and telling him to go to hell. Muichiro suddenly thinks back to a time when he was with Kaguya. Kaguya told him that he couldn't have such a rigid view of the world and that he could become stronger once he found his true, immovable self. As he watches Gyokko's body turn to ash, he realizes that his boss is right about finding himself and having the courage to act. As long as he knows who he is, all his doubts, hesitations, and frustrations will go away, and no demon will be able to get away from his blade. Kozo goes up to the Mist Hashira and thanks him for saving their lives. He then asks the Mist Hashira if he is okay. Muichiro says he's fine and will help Tanjiro now, but the swordsmith doesn't believe him because Muichiro's face is pale. He says again that he is fine, but then he starts shaking and has trouble breathing, which worries Kozo even more. The Hashira asks him to check on Kotetsu, but he starts foaming at the mouth and falls to the ground face first. Kozo is shocked when he sees a Hashira fall. He yells for Hotaru to help him, but the blacksmith ignores him and keeps cleaning. Kozo doesn't listen to Hotaru because he saw how useless he was when Gyokko almost killed him. Instead, he tries to help Muichiro in any way he can, but he freaks out when Muichiro chokes on the foam in his mouth. When Kotetsu comes to help him, he's confused and scared. Kotetsu tells him to lay Muichiro on his side. Kozo is shocked to hear his voice and scared when Kotetsu's ghost shows up, but the young swordsmith calms him down by telling him he is not dead. As Muichiro wakes up from the commotion, Kozo asks how he can still be living since he was stabbed in the solar plexus and bled heavily. Kotetsu tells Kozo that Muichiro's blood is from his arm wounds and that he avoided a more serious injury because the demon hit something hidden in Muichiro's shirt instead of his solar plexus. He tells them that Tanjiro gave him Kyojuro Rengoku's Suba because he wanted to put it on his new sword. Muichiro thinks back to when Kyojuro told him to give his all as a Hashira when he sees it. Then, all of a sudden, he sees his family around him. His parents are holding him, and Yuichiro is looking at him. His father tells him that everything turned out well in the end because he trusted someone. Hashira gets upset when he sees his father and mother again. Yuichiro then kneels down, grabs his twin's hand, and praises his work, which makes Muichiro cry. As a wooden dragon throws him high into the air, Tanjiro barely escapes being crushed. He looks around and sees that the manifestation of hatred is surrounded by 5 heads, each of which is about 66 shaku long. He gets ready to use Hinokami Kagura, Clear Blue Sky, but the demon beats a drum, which makes a dragon fire Yurugi's sound shriek at Tanjiro, knocking him into the trees. Nezuko sees that her brother has fallen, but 2 dragons surround her and can't get to him. Another dragon attacks Genya. He shoots the demon with his shotgun, but still has to grab it to stop it from biting him. The gunshots heal quickly. Then, he uses his bare hands to break its jaws apart. Tanjiro throws up on the ground and then realizes that the shriek caused his eardrums to burst, making him even more dizzy than before. The demon then beats 2 drums and uses the dragon to call upon the strong winds of Aizetsu, which crush Tanjiro's left foot. He hits 2 more, and the dragon shoots Tanjiro with lightning from Sekido. As he tries to run away, Tanjiro learns that the single demon can use any of the emotional manifestations attacks, and even more powerfully than before, as 2 dragons hit him with a sonic shriek. Soon, the dragon bites Nezuko on the arm, and Genya gets caught in the dragon's coil. Tanjiro can't use his breathing skills because he hasn't healed yet, so he runs away from the dragons and avoids their bites. He gets far enough away that he thinks he's safe and can take a break. The demon of hate then beats his drum, and the dragon comes out of his mouth with a series of shorter necks. The dragon is now longer than before, so it can grab Tanjiro. As it pulls him into its mouth, Tanjiro tries to cut it, but he is too weak and is eaten whole. Nezuko and Genya are shocked as they continue to fight. In the dragon's throat, Tanjiro understands that the situation is hopeless as he is slowly crushed, and the demon says their fight is over. Mitsuri jumps into the air without notice and races along the dragon's neck, slashing it to pieces and splitting its head open to save Tanjiro. As the dragon falls apart and the demon learns that his new opponent is now a Hashira, Mitsuri puts Tanjiro on her back and jumps away from the falling dragon, saying that she is scared to see such a horrible monster. When Tanjiro calls her, she asks if he is okay and says she's sorry she's late. She lands safely on the ground and puts her hands on his shoulders. She then rocks him back and forth happily, telling him to take a break, but Tanjiro can't hear her because his eardrums have burst. Taking out her sword, she says she will save Nezuko and Genya, which angers the demon. Mitsuri rushes forward while Tanjiro tells her that the demon is an upper rank. She just asks him to leave it up to her. 3 dragons attack the love Hashira, but she wraps her blade around the leading dragon's jaws and pulls them tight. This lets her use the dragon's neck to knock down the other 2 dragons, and then she goes to face the embodiment of hate. Well, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. We really appreciate your support.